Hi, welcome back to the channel. Please like and subscribe. This episode is about strings. I use Elixir polyweb strings. I've been using them for the last, let's say, 8 or 9 years fully. Let's just start by looking at why I like to use those strings. Durability. Elixir strings, like many coated strings, last a long time. Now these strings are the polyweb, and specifically they're what I like to go for. They have a warm sound and a slick and fast feel. The other strings that they do, which are the nano web, they're quite bright sounding and they're quite smooth. And the OptiWeb are quite crisp with a natural feel. However, I find that the polyweb strings feel like coated strings, and that's a personal thing to me that I like. The best thing about these strings is that they cost around £13 for a set, which might sound like a lot. However, when you're spending £10 per pack of string these days for uncoated strings, this is a better deal because these last 3 times longer than normal strings. Somebody with a guitar collection would really appreciate this. I have in my rotation around 6 guitars that I'm using constantly, and those guitars normally when I get them off the rack or pull them out of a case, they are in tune. So that's a testament to the strings, but they also feel fresh and feel like they're ready to be played. What attracts me to these strings over other strings is the feel of them. Now they are made out of steel, just like normal guitar strings. However, they do have a layer of coating, which is made by a company called Gore. I always think about Gore-Tex equipment that's often waterproof. They do have a slinky kind of slidey kind of feel to them. Now the strings that I put on this guitar, which was my main guitar over the summer, it did countless gigs, it did lots of sessions, and obviously playing every day. I play about an hour a day. These strings have lasted 6 months before I've needed to change them, which is a record really for me. It's amazing. So the other cool thing is they don't snap on me. So certainly on this guitar I've not had a string snap yet, and on since I've had this bridge. Same goes for my other guitars. When I do have a string snap, it's because there's an issue with the bridge. I guess a con for the Elixirs is that you can't tell if a string's about to snap or if your strings are actually worn, because they are coated and feel nice all the time. Versatility. These strings sound great on lots of different instruments as well. That's why I just buy packs of them, because they work with everything. So this is a Telecaster copy. It sounds nice and bright and doesn't use the sonic edge when I use them. The other thing is for gigging. So they're fantastic strings for gigging because they don't let you down in the gig. They feel fresh. They don't tarnish overnight. So if you're taking your guitar home after the gig, obviously you'd wipe your strings down, but they don't go nasty in the case. So that's really good. They feel fresh. They stay fresh. So I've tried other brands. Another brand to look at would be Stringjoy. Stringjoy makes some nice strings, and they do half sizes, so you can get 9.5 gauge strings. So if you're playing 9s at the moment, you want to try going up a gauge, or indeed playing 10s and want to go down a gauge, 9.5 is a really good way to go. And the tension is, it kind of has that tension of a 9 string, but with the gauge of a 10. That's how it kind of feels anyway. So Stringjoy do that. If you also, other brands that do coated strings are Didario, and I think Ernie Ball do them as well. But my favourite are Elixirs. They're the first company to do them. And like I say, those polywebs are my favourite. Only thing you might get is a little bit of dust coming off the strings from lots of playing. So you do tend to see that coming off your strings. It's a bit of the coating going onto that part of your guitar and under your bridge. So you might find some of that going on. However, it's worth it for the fact that my guitars are always in tune. I can just pick one up, play it, and I haven't got to think about it. I haven't got to try and spending time tuning. I haven't got to spend time thinking, oh, this isn't very nice, and then not playing it. If you're a beginner, these strings are actually perfect, because when you're a beginner, you're not spending a lot of money on strings, and you don't really know when your strings have gone. So I always recommend buying some of these I recommend buying Elixir strings and putting them on your child's guitars, because they will stay fresh and inspiring. And fundamentally, that's what guitar strings do. They keep the guitar feeling zingy and inspiring all the time. I use them on my acoustic guitars and my electric guitars. So if you found this video helpful, please subscribe. You can now also do super chats, and you can also find a link to the strings on the Amazon shop. I've put one in the description. If you follow that link, I'll get a little commission, which is great. But I do and have been buying these strings for the last 8 years, and they are really great strings. I would recommend that you try them. Like I say, there's a set for everybody with the different ones. So you've got the Polyweb, the Nanoweb, and the OptiWeb. Check them out. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Stay inspired.